Hello everyone and welcome to This Day. Today is Tuesday, October 24th and I'm Bobby Higgins. It's so good to be back. Coming up, Michael Taylor sits down with the doctors from Renew Ketamine Infusion. They have some exciting information to tell us about how they combine ketamine treatment with psychotherapy to help their clients. It's legit and FDA approved. And after that, Pastor Paul Finley will join us with Lutheran Church of the Cross. We'll learn a little background about Pastor Paul and the Lutheran Church. Plus, they have a fun fall event coming up this weekend to tell us about. And that brings us to today's Stay Informed. There is a closed on-ramp to the I-5 freeway at El Toro Road. If you're driving westbound and trying to get on the 5 freeway north at El Toro, the on-ramp is closed until tomorrow morning at about 5 a.m. Watch for the electronic detour signs to navigate. And now taking a look at today's weather. Today will be nice with some morning clouds. The fog's already starting to burn off, and then it'll be sunny and cool with a high of 72 and a low of 58. We'll have increasing clouds throughout the night tonight, and tomorrow on Wednesday, it'll be mostly cloudy and cool with a high of 70 and a low of 58. Thursday will be partly cloudy with a high of 68 and a low of 57. And going into the weekend, it'll be mostly sunny skies with a high of 70 on Friday and a high of 69 on Saturday. And now taking a look at our sunrise and sunset. This is a photo by Jules Anderson. Beautiful shot there here in the village. Almost looks like a painting. It's so perfect. Sunrise this morning was at 7:02 a.m. and the sunset will be at 6:06 p.m. tonight. If you would like to have your photo featured here on This Day, please email them to us at lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Stay with us because coming up after the break, we have Renew Ketamine Infusion. But first, let's take a look at today's meetings.
At Renew Ketamine Infusion, Dr. Justin Yannick and Dr. Tanya Dahl are board-certified physicians with nearly a decade of experience in ketamine therapy who can help those who haven't found success with other treatments or wish to avoid daily medications. Whether you're struggling with depression, PTSD, anxiety, or chronic pain conditions, our private spa-like clinic focuses on creating the perfect setting for your ketamine treatment. Call us today to schedule your free physician consultation to determine if ketamine therapy is recommended for you.
We're going to be talking about ketamine and the treatments and all of that. We're with Renew Ketamine Infusion, the folks from there, Dr. Justin Yannick and Dr. Tanya Dahl. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us. Good morning.
So from the start, let's talk about ketamine. This is the thing, hey, I see this in energy drinks, I see this, what is ketamine all about, and what are you guys doing at your clinic?
Yeah, so ketamine is actually a medicine that has been FDA approved since the 1970s. Traditionally, more commonly used in the hospital setting for, things like sedation in the operating room. The use of ketamine to treat patients with chronic mood or pain disorders such as anxiety and depression, that is kind of an interesting story how that popped up. So there were patients that were going in for anesthesia, patients that had struggled with anxiety and depression in the past. And after they came out of anesthesia, were actually feeling days, weeks of kind of relief from those symptoms.
Okay.
And so that's when people started looking a little deeper into ketamine and how can it be used in other ways. And a lot of research has been done now showing that it's actually very effective in treating patients with chronic pain and chronic mood disorders.
Okay, and so is that how we know it works? I mean, we've had there's been studies, like you say, it's been approved, but it was approved for one thing and then it kind of jumped over to another one. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so I mean, there's an enormous amount of clinical evidence and real evidence in terms of trials that have been done proving ketamine's efficacy. A lot of these trials have been on patients that are very sick, that are resistant to other treatment modalities. So these aren't just your, oh, I'm a little bit depressed, let me try ketamine as the first line therapy. These are patients that have tried and failed multiple therapies, and that's when ketamine's actually been proven to be really effective for them.
Now, the ketamine is one thing, but it also comes with psychotherapy and other kind of support, right? We're not just handing somebody some pills and walking them out the door, right?
Right, so the process would be that you go through an induction series with us, and so you would come into the clinic for 6 infusions over about 2 to 3 weeks. And so ketamine is a great medicine in itself, but it's not a silver bullet. And what we do is we actually supercharge the effects of it when we combine it with psychotherapy. So you are able to kind of integrate the experiences that you're having while you're going through the infusion process with the psychotherapist, and you're able to kind of process that on a deeper level.
Okay, so walk me through the spectrum of people who are candidates to come in and come in and get the ketamine treatments.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's two main subgroups. One subgroup is patients with chronic pain, and then another subgroup is patients with chronic mental health conditions. There's a huge overlap in those two things, and I won't go into the details of that, but those are the two big subgroups. Most of our patients are patients with chronic mental health issues. These are patients with anxiety, depression, PTSD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Those are probably the primary ones.
Okay.
And all of these patients have tried and failed either psychotherapy or pharmacotherapy. And they come to us because nothing else seems to be working. And that's where ketamine's really been shown to be superior to really any other thing out there.
Okay, so are we talking about ketamine only if other things have failed, or can it be the first try at something?
Well, so it has been studied as kind of being very effective in the patients that are treatment resistant to all the other options.
Okay.
But if you look at the other options, they are not very effective kind of on their own, and they come with a lot of side effects. So if you're taking an antidepressant every day, you're having weight gain, insomnia, some people even become suicidal on antidepressants. And so we are also there as an option for people that don't want to take a daily medication. And so we have treated patients with mild anxiety, mild depression who don't want to be on a daily medicine, and they've had a lot of relief.
Okay, so the ketamine myths, I guess we'll talk about that. Some people, oh, this is some sort of drug. I see it in, I get energy drinks and things like that. Yeah. So where is it? What are the concerns that people have? How are people abusing ketamine, and since it's getting this kind of bad rep for some folks, right?
Yeah. I hope you're not seeing the energy drink, because that would be illegal. So it is a controlled substance that has to be prescribed by a doctor. So I think your point brings up something interesting. Ketamine can be abused recreationally. However, it's all about the context that it's delivered.
Okay.
And so for us, patients don't go home with the ketamine. They come to our clinic in a controlled environment, supervised by doctors. Dr. Dahl and myself are in there the entire time with the patient. They come for a fixed amount of sessions, and then they go home. And so we actually, not only is that setting in and of itself kind of, it's unlikely to get addicted to it, but there's actually a lot of evidence to support that ketamine can be used to treat addiction in and of itself.
Okay.
And so we have yet to see any real clinical evidence or real evidence to show that ketamine is addictive when given in that context.
Okay. I go in, maybe I get the treatment, I'm a patient. How long should I expect to be under the treatment of ketamine? Is it something that's going to be multiple doses or one dose, or then I'll be free from it and they'll have some long lasting, or is it something I can continue to renew?
Yeah, so there's two main parts of the treatment. The first part being called induction, which is that 6 series infusions over 2 to 3 weeks. It's very high intensity treatment. Then we go into a maintenance phase, and that's really as needed. So depending on how severe your symptoms have been, whether you come back for maintenance or not is kind of patient dependent. And so we do have some patients that we've treated through the induction series that still feel great and have never needed to come back 6-8 months later. We do have some that are a little more severe, and so patients will schedule monthly to come in for maintenance infusions, and so it's just really patient dependent.
Mm-hmm. Now, are there new phases or new possibilities for ketamine, and kind of as we learn more about it? I know that we've talked about a little bit about clinical trials. Yeah. What are some of the maybe possibilities that are out there for other that is not quite there yet?
I mean, I think it kind of dovetails off of where the whole psychedelic movement is going in general in terms of clinical trials. Some interesting things that I'm aware of is clinical trials looking for spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, chronic headaches and migraines, which is a patient population that we really haven't been able to do much for. And then also for like marriage therapy, couples counseling, which is a whole new field that really hasn't been studied before, to kind of like expedite that process.
Okay, and to allay some fears, is ketamine addictive per se? Is it, if I'm going to come out of there, I'm going to, man, I need some more ketamine.
No, not at all, not at all. So again, like what Dr. Yannick was saying, when used the way we are using it in the setting we are using it, absolutely not addictive. You don't have to worry about any of that. And you know what's really nice about ketamine is using it as an alternative to treat chronic pain, aside from using the more addictive medications like the opiates and using benzodiazepines for anxiety, and those are well known to be very addictive. So ketamine is very safe.
Those are just blockers. They're really not really actual long-term treatment.
I mean, that's the core issue issue, right? So like the whole idea of ketamine is that it can actually help you heal from the condition, where almost every other pharmacotherapy is really just a Band-Aid, right? Whether that's for pain or whether that's for depression.
The pain instead of actually.
Right.
And so is ketamine kind of like doing some sort of reset to the mind? Is that how I can say it?
Yeah, so it's working on a cellular level in the brain and the spinal cord and the peripheral nervous system. Yeah, and so what it does is it works on the cells to create new proteins that come in and can kind of work their magic healing, and that's what they do. Yeah.
Okay. And augmented therapy versus traditional therapy. Kind of go into a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, therapy in and of itself is an incredibly effective modality, and we're strong believers in the power of therapy. However, ketamine, when combined with therapy, can really be an accelerated process where patients oftentimes feel like they get stuck in therapy, they don't open up fully. Ketamine allows you to gain access into maybe more repressed memories or things that you don't typically feel comfortable talking about, and that tends to be a much more accelerated healing process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and is it kind of like, when someone's taking maybe some mental health issues in terms of bipolar, where they're getting that, but they're also getting that therapy, right? So that's kind of the supportive angle of that. This isn't a cure-all.
Right.
Totally, yeah.
Totally.
It is not a cure-all, but we think the two, when combined, have a real synergistic effect, and that's why we think it's so important to do both, not just one.
And what's the typical range of a patient? If I come in there, how long is my, like I kind of talked about this, but how long should I expect the treatments to last? And does insurance cover it and things like that?
So the process is you're going to come in 6 times over 2 to 3 weeks. And when you come into our clinic, it's a very spa-like, tranquil clinic. It's very private. It's just Dr. Yannick or myself with a registered nurse and the patient at any time. Each appointment's an hour and a half. The infusion will go through an IV line about 40 minutes. And so that's kind of what you can expect in the actual process.
Yeah, and it lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks, the induction where the 6 infusions go on.
And Dr. Yannick, how did you get into this in the first place? Were you doing traditional medicine and kind of fell into this?
Yeah. We both met in residency. We're both ER doctors, board certified ER doctors. We both still work in the emergency room, to be clear. I did a pain medicine fellowship, and long story short, I had a pretty significant subset of patients in the chronic pain space that wouldn't get better with a lot of the traditional therapies I was using. And that's when, in about 2019-20, I started to hear about the kind of the psychedelic renaissance in terms of traditional medicine, how it can be used, and started to use ketamine on certain patients in the chronic pain space. And it just became so clinically obvious to me that this worked better than almost anything else I had tried. And then we kind of met in the middle and decided we wanted to create a space that was just optimized to deliver this medicine to the right people.
Okay, Dr. Dahl, kind of your story as well?
Right, so I got interested in using ketamine more for the mental health perspective. So what I found was going through the COVID-19 pandemic in the emergency department, it was really just a very devastating time for everybody. And so patients were coming in isolated, scared, alone, depressed, and they had nowhere to go, and they were coming to me in crisis. And so I was looking for an opportunity to be able to treat patients more proactively instead of being reactive when they're in crisis. And so that's kind of why I got involved with wanting to use ketamine for these patients.
All right, well, Doctors Dahl and Yannick, thank you so much for joining us. Renew Ketamine Infusion. We have the information on the screen for people who want to get more, know more about it, make an appointment, or go to the website and just do a little research on your own. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
Been working with retirees since 1984. I specialize in protecting people's money, setting up a secure retirement income stream for them, and making sure their money is there when they need it. I started Sterling Financial Advisors under the premise that we not only needed quality service for clients out there in the financial industry, but ethical standards as well.
We don't have any monopoly on the investments we use. What we do have a monopoly on is the integrity and how we treat our clients.
Welcome back to This Day. Joining me now is Pastor Paul Finley and Liz Travieso. Hi, welcome. So nice to meet you guys. Thank you for being here today.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and so your week's going well? Things are going good?
Very well, thank you. Yeah.
Well, Pastor Paul, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your background. Like, how did you become a pastor?
Well, you know, I really attribute my calling to ministry to my grandma. I think most kids can account their grandparents being a strong spiritual influence in their lives from a young age. I remember sitting next to my grandma and grandpa in church, and she always, during the service, would pull out a roll of Certs mints and say, well, do you want one? And to this day, I'll never have a Certs mint and not associate it with sitting in church with my grandparents.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. At what age did you know, like, okay, I'm going to do this as a vocation?
That's a great question. I would probably sense that I wanted to do something ministry oriented even in late high school. Like, I just really loved all the experiences that I had in church growing up, and I wanted to give that same experience to others. And originally when I went to college, it was to be a music major. I was a music major at St. Olaf College in Northfield, Minnesota. And I thought I was going to be a musician in a church, but over time, God showed me that I had more gifts to share in a larger leadership role, and one thing led to another, and here I am.
Wow.
But you are a great musician.
Well, thank you.
Now, is it a long education to become a pastor?
3 years of coursework plus a year of full-time internship beyond a bachelor's degree. So most seminary-trained pastors have as much education as most other professional degrees, and but we don't get paid the same, though.
Yeah. So, well, then that brings me to the rewards then. What is rewarding for you about it?
Well, what's not rewarding about seeing people's lives changed?
Yeah.
You know, I just read a Pew Research Center study from 2019 said that people who are actively religious report being 10% more happier than the people who are not actively religious. And I don't know, in this difficult times and dark world, it's like, who couldn't use 10% extra happiness in your life, extra peace in your life? The blessings and benefits of faith are numerous, and so to be able to share faith and build faith and encourage faith in other people is reward in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Just last night when I was putting my kids to bed, and we read like a little thing every day, and it kind of brings a lesson into it. And so I was asking the kids, you know, what is being with the family of God? What does that mean to you? And so I was telling my kids, well, one of the things for me that I always had this image in my head that has helped me through my life is I think of like a letter tray. And whenever things are difficult or I don't know how to fix something, I'm like, that box is for God. That's God's box. And I
like
can just
that.
put that worry and know that I don't have to be in control. I don't have to worry. God will handle that.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's peace. It's so much peace in your life.
Take
So-
it out of your hands, put it in God's.
Exactly.
Yes.
We don't know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future, and that can give us greater peace.
Yeah. Liz, how did you get involved with the Lutheran Church?
Well, I have been a member for several years, almost 15 years, and during the pandemic, the gal that was in my spot, which was, she decided to just step down. And so they went ahead and advertised the position in the church bulletin.
Children's ministry.
Children's ministry, yes, I'm sorry. And I said, that seems kind of interesting. So I kind of put it aside, and then I just couldn't stop thinking about it. So I threw my hat in the ring and had a wonderful interview with the senior pastor at the time and our associated pastor that we have now, and just felt, they just felt, and I felt that this was where I needed to be. So I have been in this position for about 3 years now, and I have just had a wonderful time. It is probably one of the things that has changed my life because of the fact just being able to minister. And yes, I minister to children, but I minister to the parents. I get to be with older people at the same time. I get to be a connection with the preschool. And that, when I feel like I'm frustrated and I'm having a hard day and I don't like the way the world is treating me, and I start serving and ministering to everybody around me, it's probably the best feeling in the world. I just really, really just get a peace. And like we were talking about, that peace is just like, you know what, perspective. It is okay. So I am very blessed to be able to have this opportunity to serve the church in this capacity.
Oh, that's wonderful. And so for the Lutheran Church, for this church, if residents or people, maybe they're new moving here, they don't know what churches are around, or, you know, what would you say to draw them to this church?
Well, I think the key word is community.
Yes.
You know, especially in the village, people can become isolated if they're a widow, living alone. Sometimes it's hard to get out of the house because of physical abilities. I want to say the church is here for you. You know, we create community not just around worship services on Saturday night and Sunday morning, but throughout the week. We have daily Bible studies, and Bible studies are great to grow in your understanding of God's Word, but just to be in community and be in fellowship. We also have a weekly senior day out luncheon every Tuesday at 11 a.m. So come on out for a home-cooked meal and great fellowship, and often something entertaining or educational along with that. And many other things. We serve food to the community. The first and third Thursday of the month, we distribute food from Orange County Food Bank to anyone in need at 9 a.m. So all these things bring the community together. And I also like to say, if you can't come to church, let us know, and the church will come to you. We do visits with homebounds and shut-ins in the village. I bring them prayer, company, and Holy Communion anytime anybody asks.
I love that. That is wonderful. Yeah, because it's definitely such a hard thing as you get older. Maybe you've lost your spouse or what, like health issues, and so to be able to have that connection, that's amazing. That's wonderful work, rewarding work too. So you have a fun day coming up for the community.
Yeah.
And there's a surfing theme, which is why you're in the Hawaiian shirt today. Tell us about this event.
Yeah, well, Liz here organized the whole thing, so I think she should really kick off by telling us what we can look forward to this Sunday, the 29th, from noon to 3 p.m.
Yes, so we have a fall festival, and our theme is Catch the Wave of Jesus' Love. And it is a surfing theme because we are a church that loves water themes. We have a big space called the Cove. We have our little children in the bay. So, I mean, we do have a sense that we are right next to the Pacific Ocean. So we love the idea of that wave, that wave of love that comes over you. And we want to be there to be a wave in the community of love. We want to make sure that everybody in this community and our surrounding communities know that this is a place where you're going to feel Jesus' love. So next Sunday at 12 noon, we are going to have a water slide. We are going to have classic cars that is going to have the trunk and treat. So mom and dad can look at, or grandma and grandpa can look at these beautiful classic cars while the kids get candy. We have a jump house. We have games, popcorn, snow cones, hot dogs, sandwiches. I mean, we're having a wonderful show of skits and song performed by our drama ministry. We have
And the Laguna Woods Theater Guild is participating as well. So we're bringing the community to our space to bless the community. And it's all free.
It is all free.
And it's also there's a cause. You're doing
Yes. So go ahead.
Well, there's a very worthy nonprofit organization called Wells of Life, and they go around the world and they drill wells in communities that don't have access to clean drinking water. The transformation that clean drinking water brings to a community in terms of the health, the mortality rates decrease, people's livelihoods thrive, and so for the cost of $6,500 to drill a well in Africa, we can change people's lives. We can save lives, and we're tackling that mission in the context of building community. So we're building our community, and we're building a community somewhere else, and we're having a 50-50 raffle to the proceeds of which will go to support Wells of Life.
Okay, wonderful. I love it. Love everything about it. I wish you great luck on this. It's going to be a fun event. So
Thank you.
Looking forward to. Thank you for being here today.
Glad to be here.
Come join the Lutheran Church of the Cross for their Fall Festival free community event. Catch the wave of Jesus' love this Sunday, October 29th, from noon to 3 p.m. Don't go anywhere. We have announcements and weather coming up right after this.
At Freedom Village, we want you to create a life worth believing in.
Staffing is fantastic. Whenever you need any help, they're there to help you.
I met so many people. I have so many friends now compared to when I was, living by myself. I didn't have hardly any friends.
I have to say it was one of the best decisions of my life. It's like living in a resort. It's just the nicest way to live.
The Salvation Army Orange County is committed to building hope in people's lives rather than just more shelters. The Center of Hope, a comprehensive homeless care solution, combines a 325-bed emergency shelter, 72 permanent supportive housing apartments, on-site medical, dental, vision, and mental health care, and an award-winning drug and alcohol rehabilitation center. Donate today to transform lives, create safer neighborhoods, and provide an opportunity to end chronic homelessness in Orange County.
Welcome back to This Day. Let's take a look at some announcements now, keep you informed here in the Village. Coming up on Friday, October 27th, starting at 8:30 a.m. is the annual Senior Summit at Soka University. This event is free and meals will be provided, so please call to register at 714-834-3550. And now taking a look at the weather, we're going to have a beautiful day, sunny out there. The fog is pretty much cleared away. It's going to be sunny and cool with a high of 72 and a low of 58. We'll have some increasing clouds over tonight and tomorrow on Wednesday. It'll be mostly cloudy and cooler with a high of 70 and a low of 58. Thursday will be partly cloudy with a high of 68 and a low of 57. And going into the weekend, it'll be mostly sunny skies with a high of 70 on Friday and a high of 69 on Saturday. And now taking a look ahead, tomorrow on this day, we'll have the recreation update with William Arceo and also the Senior Center update with Aimee Roberts. Always a great time to find out all the upcoming events. And that's it for us here on This Day. Thanks for watching. We have an inspirational quote from Walt Disney to leave you with. If you can dream it, you can do it. So here's to all the dreamers out there. For This Day, I'm Bobby Higgins. Have a great day, everyone.